Every morning at exactly 7:30, Clara sat on the old wooden bench by the lake, reading her favorite novel before work. She liked the soft ripples on the water and the pale gold sunrise. One morning, a man she had never seen before sat at the other end of the bench, carefully leaving space between them. The next morning, he returned. As he sat down, his coffee slipped from his hand and splashed near Clara's shoes. "I'm so sorry," he said quickly, offering napkins. Clara laughed softly. "It's okay." The ducks needed more excitement anyway. On the third morning, he spoke again. "I'm Daniel," he said, a little shyly. "Clara," she replied, closing her book. That morning, they talked about small things: the weather, the noisy ducks, the way the sun made the lake shine like glass. One Tuesday, Daniel didn't appear. Clara told herself it didn't matter. Still, she looked at her watch more than once. The bench felt strangely larger and emptier than usual. The next day, Daniel returned, slightly out of breath. "I had an early meeting yesterday," he explained. Clara smiled, surprised by how relieved she felt. "The ducks were disappointed," she teased. As days passed, their conversations grew longer. Daniel spoke about his dream of opening a small bakery. Clara shared her wish to write her own novel someday. On that bench, their hopes felt possible. One morning, rain poured over the lake. Clara almost stayed home, but she went anyway. Daniel was there, holding an umbrella. They squeezed together beneath it, shoulders touching. "I think this bench is my favorite part of the day," Daniel admitted. Clara felt her heart race. "Mine too," she whispered. Clara stopped bringing her novel. She no longer needed it to fill the silence. Daniel began bringing small pastries for her to taste. "Practice," he'd say with a grin. She became his most honest critic and his biggest fan. Months later, Daniel invited Clara to see a tiny shop for rent near the park. "It's scary," he confessed. Clara reached for his hand. "Then we'll be scared together." It was the first time they held hands without letting go quickly. A year later, a small bakery stood near the lake. Every morning at 7:30, before opening the shop, Clara and Daniel sat on the old wooden bench. Sometimes they talked, sometimes they simply watched the sunrise. The bench was no longer just a place by the water. It was where love had quietly begun and where it returned every single day.